This video assumes that you already have an established nonprofit 501c3. If you don't, and you are in the Southeast Texas area, the link below can help. The Southeast Texas Nonprofit Development Center has a variety of resources to help start up nonprofits. Grant applications are due no later than 5 p.m. on May 1st. Funding of approved grants will begin at the start of SETAC's next fiscal year, which occurs on October 1st. First things first, create a project. This is the most important part. You cannot apply for grant money without having a project to apply for. Coming up with a project will allow you to address things such as, are we going to need porta potties? Where are the porta potties going to go? Who's going to pay for them? Who's going to clean them up when a bunch of kids tip them over? These are things that you might not normally think about, yet you will need to answer when filling out a grant application. Meet with your board. 2 heads are always better than 1, and more heads better than 2. Discuss things like rental space, electricity, medical services, security, insurance. Pretend that you're an evil rival who wants nothing more than to see your project fail. How would you sabotage it? Find the issues before they happen and address them. Are you going to have vendors? How large will the booth spaces be? How much will the vendors pay? Are you going to need a health inspector on site? All of these things require thought and probably money. So, once you've decided what you need and how much each item will cost, create a list and get a total. This will be the expense column of your budget. Next, you need to find funding for all of your expenses. Once again, the Nonprofit Development Center can help by directing you to various organizations and individuals who can help fund you. It's good to have funding from multiple sources, as any one funding source generally would like to see someone else putting money toward a project. When you put together your budget, it'll look something like this. This is our sample budget, which we have created for the purposes of this instructional video. You see in our income column, we have spaces for ticket sales, a donation from Kroger, a donation from ourselves, SETAC, and individual contributions for a total of $6,000. In our expenses, we have administration, professional seamstress, fabric, patterns, shoes, crowns, swords, etc., and miscellaneous, once again for a total of $6,000. You'll notice that our income total and our expense total are the same. This is important for your proposed budget. Your income and your expenses should match. When you go to enter your budget into the grant application form, you'll do so in Section D on page 4. You'll enter all the values in the breakdown and the total at the bottom. Your expenditures will be entered on Section E on page 5. Once again, the total is at the bottom. You might notice that even though we're using the same sample budget, that these numbers differ from the ones that were on the previous budget. That's because the previous budget was cash only. The grant application form will ask you for an additional kind of income, and that is in-kind income. In-kind income refers to things which do not have a specific cash value. They could be volunteer hours donated, or materials, or rental space, or any number of other things which may or may not have a specific dollar value. However, you should estimate the value for these things and write them into your budget. Note that in-kind donations can bridge the gap between an unequal income and expense report. For example, if you believe that your expenses were going to be $7,000, but you only had $6,000 worth of income, $1,000 worth of donated in-kind income could make up the difference and make those budgets equal. You should always be looking for a balanced budget. At this point, if you haven't already downloaded the grant application, go get it now. You can find it on our website, www.setxac.org. When you get to the web page, mouse over the Grants drop-down at top and select the forms. Download the grant application form from the middle of the page. When you open your grant application, this is what it'll look like. Once again, we've created a sample project for the purposes of this video. So we'll enter our name and our project title. The next part here is for SETAC use only. This first page is a checklist which lists everything that you are going to need to complete your grant application. So let's get started. First, verify that your SETAC membership dues have been paid. You have to be a member of SETAC to make a grant application. Second, complete the checklist. That refers to this page, and the application refers to the whole document. We'll come back to this. Make sure you have your IRS letter of determination. If you don't, there's a section down below which you can fill out later. The next section lists all the attachments that are required for you to turn in your grant application form. Let's go through them. First, you'll need your project budget detail for revenues and expense. Then your organization's financial statement for the most recently completed year. For the sake of this sample, our most recently completed year will be 2012. Yours will be different. The organization's current operating budget, the organization's projected budget for the upcoming year. Complete the organizational funds form page. That's page 2 of this application. We'll come back to it. You'll need a one-page list of the current board of directors, one page of resumes of key personnel. The next option deals with salary support. Very few people will apply for salary support, and we rarely grant it. You will probably not need this. A one-page list of performances and exhibitions during the past 2 years. One-page list of upcoming presentations, productions, and exhibitions. And samples of evaluations of past programs. Note that the options marked with the asterisks are not applicable for new organizations. If you're new, you won't have this information. The next part is for organizations without IRS nonprofit determination. If you need more information regarding this option, please contact us. Lastly are non-mandatory attachments. If you have these, attach them. If not, move on. The second page is our organization funds page. This is where you'll list all the funds your organization has available to it. For the purposes of our sample, we have no other source of funds. If you did, you would fill out the bottom. Now, because we completed page 2, we'll go back to page 1 and check the appropriate box. Page 3 is the applicant organization information and proposal information. We'll speed this up a bit. Now, under proposal information, you have 6 categories of support. Our sample is a project. Your project may be different. Page 4 is a breakdown of the proposal resources. Our sample project predicts $1,000 in admission fees, box office, and subscriptions. $500 from Kroger and corporate giving. And $1,500 in individual contributors. Page 5 is the proposal expenditures. Because the current fiscal year of our project is 2013, the preceding year is 2012, and the year that we're applying for is 2014. Page 6 is a list of questions which you'll need to answer. They're fairly straightforward. Page 7 is a project budget detail. An easy way to complete this page is to simply enter your project budget into an Excel document, then copy and paste it. A Word document works as well. Page 8 is another breakdown of budgets. You'll need your recently completed year, your current operating year, and your projected year. The forms required from here on use information which you should have stored. They're fairly simple. Now, once we're done, we'll go back up to the first page. We've completed the application, and now we've completed the checklist. The application is done. Now that you have completed the application, email it and all the required attachments to director@setxac.org. Your application will be reviewed and either approved or returned to you for corrections. Good luck! Remember that you will need to fill out an ERF form, which details how you use the money you were granted. Be sure to keep receipts and records. Once your project is complete, download the form from our website. You'll find it on the Grants Forms page.